The Nicaraguan Revolution: Art, Religion, and Liberation. During the 1970s, Nicaragua experienced a powerful uprising and insurrection led by the Sandinista National Liberation Front, also known as FSLN, to remove Nicaraguan dictator Anastasio Somoza, which ended the Somoza family dynasty that had been in power since 1936. For this presentation, I'm going to delve deep into the various ways that Ernesto Cardenal and the Primitivista art movement were inspired by religion to create cultural production about the Nicaraguan Revolution that took place in the 1960s up until the 1990s, and how their artwork and activism embodies the concepts of liberation theology, sacred imagined communities, and secular sanctity. To provide some historical context about the Nicaraguan Revolution, I'm going to first briefly discuss the origins and motivations of the revolution. The insurrection that took place in Nicaragua was not only led by Sandinistas, but also by farmers, students, business owners, and many civilians living in poverty who felt disenfranchised by the current government, which is one of the major reasons that the Sandinista movement was successful in ousting Somoza. Religion and the politics of the revolution were closely intertwined and went hand in hand in facilitating the Sandinistas' rise to power, which is a point emphasized by Michael Dodson in his academic journal titled The Politics of Religion and Revolutionary Nicaragua. In the following excerpt, Dodson elaborates on the role religion played in the revolution. He says the following: "What few outsiders realized was that the pathway leading many of the poor into the revolutionary movement had its origin in a religious awakening. This religious awakening during the revolution inspired various influential artists, including those who were a part of the Primitivista artistic movement. This movement started in the 1960s, around the same time that the FSLN was formed. One of the most influential figures during the revolution was Ernesto Cardenal, a Catholic priest and poet who established a parish in 1965 on the Solentiname Islands, situated near Lake Nicaragua. Cardenal introduced the residents of the Solentiname Islands to the concept of liberation theology, which is a school of thought that originated in Medellin, Colombia in 1968 and is defined as a social and political movement within the church that attempts to interpret the gospel of Jesus Christ through the lived experiences of oppressed people. Ernesto Cardenal's devotion to liberation theology stemmed from his belief that religion and art could help and heal those living through struggles and poverty. Cardenal's community within the island inspired many of the residents to create religious artwork and poetry as a response to the revolution, and is what led to the Primitivista artistic movement. One of the most influential artists of this movement was Jose Ignacio Cruz, who created colorful, vibrant, and religiously symbolic work. He was one of the artists who lived in Solentiname and worked with Ernesto Cardenal closely and helped spread the word about liberation theology to other members of the community. His artwork depicts different religious figures such as the Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ. In addition to that, he's created his own version of well-known biblical stories, such as the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and of Jesus in the temple, and Jesus calming the storm through his paintings. His images not only depict biblical stories, but also themes of the revolution, poverty, and social inequality. The concept I'm going to delve into is the idea of Ernesto Cardenal as a secular saint. In the book Borderland Saints by Desiree Martin, the idea of a secular saint is defined as someone who is venerated for their extraordinary actions or their contribution to a noble cause, but who is not recognized as a canonical saint by a religion. Ernesto Cardenal's activism during the revolution, his efforts to alleviate poverty, his artistic contributions, and teachings of liberation theology made a significant impact in the lives of many Nicaraguans during a difficult time, and many of them admire and venerate Cardenal. In this case, I believe that Cardenal fits the definition of a secular saint in the same way that Cesar Chavez and Che Guevara are considered secular saints by many who admire them. That concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for watching.